Okay, hope that helped. I'm stupid. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Tidalwave Afterwork Podcast. My name is Marc Maurer. This is my friend and colleague, Damiani.
Hello.
And we like to talk about music-related stuff and answer your questions.
Yeah. And maybe we will also answer not asked questions.
Yes, that's a good point.
We love to talk about stuff that happens in the studio, around the studio. It's related to studio work, but also has parallels to whatever life brings you. And there are a lot of parallels. And
yeah, I actually thought of something, and we touched upon this, and I thought maybe we can bring it up and discuss this, because people that don't do what we are doing, people who are not musicians, and especially not audio engineers, I think there's maybe the assumption that when we get together and we have a chat, it's like we're high-fiving and being like, today was the best day because I had the greatest kick drum sound. And then
what my mother thinks I'm doing, what my girlfriend thinks I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Memes, that kind of thing. And in reality, and I thought that
reality is different.
That was maybe a good point. The reality is that more often, I would say, when we get together, before we start putting the camera here and doing this podcast, it's like, oh God, I had this session today, and then the thing broke, and you're like, yeah, at the same, I don't know how to do this, and I had to do this, and then So what I'm saying is, there's a lot of just like problem solving, and that's a very general topic that is, I think, interesting.
Yeah. If you say like we are audio engineers, I think what is good in that term is like an engineer is someone who thinks about solutions.
Yeah.
Basically, the work in the studio is pretty much a lot of looking for solutions. Yes. Whether be it, how do I get this musician to play this take the way we need it? Or is it like, okay, so you forgot to bring this, blah, 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 but we need something like this. Let's figure out something. Or something broke. We need to find a workaround and make things happen. I have had the situation today actually with a musician I'm mixing for. Everyone is happy, everything is cool, music is great, everything is really, really great. But there is something, but
not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet, or So I didn't completely figure out yet. There is something, and I needed a couple of forth and back until I think I understood what the actual problem was. Yeah. And then, okay, now I still have to search for a solution. I'm not actually sure if there is really one, but I will do what I can to get as close as possible.
Yeah. I was thinking about a lot of times, because I do a lot of just like more like co-producing. So I get sent stuff, and my job is to basically finish the song in a way. But then you get a session where there's like, you have a guitar that's out of tune, and you have some drums that are not in time.
Congratulations.
And then you have some tracks where you don't know what the heck it's even meant to be. And then you try to explain, so what is this about? Or what is that? Hey, that track that's called blah, blah, blah. Is just a scratch track? And then, no, that's part of the arrangement. Okay.
Then diplomacy comes into play.
Exactly. You have to be very cautious and be like, all right, find a solution for that. And the question is maybe even, where is the solution in the communication with the customer or the client? Or is the solution in the session? What is your solution strategy, basically? You know,
it depends. It depends question.
Yeah. Do you also get this? I mean, yeah, you do, but
probably. What?
Another thing that I was thinking about is just the communication with the customer about a mix. And there's this difference that I maybe want to just like show people who are not aware like how this job works sometimes, where it's like you send a mix, the customer or band says, great, but here's what we don't like. And then there are, I think, like, let's go to the extremes. There are like two types of people. There are the ones, which are my favorite, who try to explain what they need just by what they feel. It's like,
oh, but that's more difficult.
You think?
Yes.
If
someone says put up the bass to dB, that's easy. It doesn't get as easy as this. If you have like, I can't feel the blah blah blah. This is it leaves a lot of room for interpretation.
Okay, then let me try to put it this way: if you can assume and imply that the person absolutely knows that when you put the bass up 2 dB, it's going to be perfect for him, then great.
Most of the musicians don't know.
But most of the musicians don't know. And that's why I say I normally like, I mean, if it's just a very loose, like emotional thing, then it's also not helpful. But what I mean is more like, let's say you get to the point that you at least understand, okay, there's something in the top end that they don't like. And now there's the question. There's different elements. There's different things that could change the perceived top end. You know, it could be saturation, it could be EQ, it could be just that maybe the master bus compression is not working in a way that they like. So in that case, I always like to get more like concept ideas that they're like, it feels loose or it feels tight or it feels whatever. Because then it's up to me to try to understand what they mean and decide which solution strategy I'm going to use. What I was trying to say is just, if I feel that they probably don't really know, they just assume, hey, put the overheads up 10 dB. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to solve your problem. I like it when people are just very realistic about what they know and what they can, can see in something. Because obviously, if it's somebody who has a trained ear, or I know that the person does home recording himself, or any of that kind of things, then then it's much more easy if somebody says, "Hey, can you put up the bass 2 dB?" Because I'm like, "Yep, sure, fine, cool." Yeah. That doesn't break the mix for me. But if people start like, no, really 10 dB the overheads,
I've had that happen, and it was a long time ago, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
because they thought that was the key, just as you said, but it definitely wasn't. It was just getting terrible.
Yeah,
but but it feedback from musicians or from artists, they can really. They come in all colors. I've had everything in between. Great, send it off to mastering or make a DDP and send it off, up to migraines, tears. I could not listen past 3 seconds in the song, but it's like a lot of emotion put into that music. And if it just doesn't feel 100% right, then it is completely off.
Yeah.
The solution was, last time, it was like a little bit less reverb. There you are really, really, really challenged to stay cool, because you see, you put like a day or two of work into that song. You gave everything, and you know the fragility of that situation, and you really try your best, always do anyway. But to not take it personally is a challenge, but you really have to work on this, because at the end of the day, it's just a mix. Yeah, it's not a building that's going to kill people because it's falling down
because the bass is 2 dB too quiet.
It's nothing is happening. It's just a matter of, okay, we didn't need red, we needed blue, so let's take blue instead of red. So this is communication is the key, and just dealing in a nice way with problems, which is not really a problem.
No.
Yeah. So let's solve problems. Let's offer solutions instead of pointing towards problems. Yeah. I could open a whole new thing, because it's many people like to just point at problems but don't offer a solution.
Yeah.
But our job is to find a solution and offer one.
And you know what's also our job? To answer questions, which is also problem solving in a way.
In a way. So let's make a little break to get a sip of tea, and we are going to come back with some serious problem solving questions.
Okay.
Hi. So we have a question from Rico Ebner.
Hey, Rico.
Rico, hello. Question is, how can I get a bigger drum sound out of a small studio?
Okay, just get a big studio and a big... No.
Hope that helps. Bye-bye.
No. Okay. A bigger drum sound if you also just have a small room. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I put it very quick and easy. It's 2024. Just use samples. I mean, you don't have to replace your drums, but no, just
That's the cheat code.
Yeah, just to get it out of the way, because I almost in my head hear like somebody on the internet being like, no.
But augment the drums.
And the thing is, the really big thing is, and I use it all the time, is just room samples, especially on things like snare.
Yeah.
It just helps to make, and that's also the thing. If you record a drum set in a tiny room and it sounds really dry and I think the snare is the element in the drums that benefits the most from augmenting it with room sounds. Because think of whatever like rock or like 80s album
Phil
you
Collins.
like, whatever. Like, what is the thing that gives you the impression of the drum sounding? It's the snare. It's the snare.
Yeah.
So if you have some great, it could even be like a one-shot room sample. I would say I really like just stereo room samples.
Absolutely.
Because then also you get this nice effect of the dry signal being in the center and having a lot of attack. You could compress it, maybe use like a slow attack and get a lot of impact. But then the snare, it feels like almost as if you would be in like a cathedral and it opens up to the side. So it's like... So that would be one thing.
What you can do is, if you use samples and you don't want a fake attack, or like the trigger thing is that you duck away the attack of the sample. In Slate Trigger, for example, you can even adjust the attack so that you lose the attack of the sample.
Yeah, it's like transient designing the room sample.
Or
basically.
you can use Transient Designer where you can, or a similar tool where you can reduce just the attack part and keep more of the sustain part. Different thing to using reverb, because if you feed like a direct signal into reverb, then it sounds like a dry snare fed into a reverb. It never sounds right.
Yeah, and also if maybe the place you're recording in, when it's really tiny and you maybe have just like also maybe the dry signals don't sound like really great. If you feed into a reverb and then also maybe the performance is too dynamic, it sounds really artificial with reverb, and it also gets really out of control, because you will get all the bleed from the snare into the reverb, and maybe you gate it and then it just opens up for a second and you get
just use samples.
Just use samples.
But
That's
okay,
fine.
now let's assume that the room is dry, but it sounds great and everything is cool. I have another cheap trick. Just open the door of the recording room and place some microphones outside. And I think this is, again, a thing that we can demonstrate by just showing. We're going to set up a drum set and just add some microphones outside of the room. And it's a great trick. I will show you this right away.
Let's go.
So we set up a drum set in the live room with overheads, bass drum and snare, all very close to the set, so the sound is very dry. And then we put outside of the recording room, pointing away from the drums, just a pair of small diaphragm condensers pointing into a basically untreated room. Let's listen first to what the drums sound dry, then we listen to what those room mics sound like, and what we can do to them to make them fit nicely to the dry track. Okay, sounds nice and full, but it's very dry. There is not a lot of ambience. Now let's check these room mics. Okay, that doesn't sound really pretty. After all, the microphones are pointing into a completely untreated room. What would you expect? But we are not stuck there. We can apply some processing to make it more pretty and more suitable. I will show you what I did to this track. First of all, I use Soothe to tame the high end a little bit to get away the splashiness of the cymbals. You can see it's pulling down the high end when the crash is playing to mellow down the sound a little bit. Next would be some heavy EQing. I want to get rid of all those resonances, like cook, cook, cook on the snare. I don't want all of that stuff, because when we are going to compress it, it would get even worse and worse, and it just doesn't sound pretty. So let's listen to what it sounds like with this EQ. It's getting better. It's much more controlled. We got rid of all those resonance, and even more top end is gone, because we don't want that splashy stuff on the room mics. Then next is a transient designer to remove the attacks from the room and enhance the sustain. So we get the impression of more distance from the drum kit, and we get the impression of a larger room. Let's listen to what it sounds like now. Okay, even a little bit better. Next step is a little bit of saturation. This also enriches the sound a little bit, and furthermore reduces the dynamic a little bit and makes the sustain a little bit longer. So the room will sound even a little larger. Okay, now another tool to remove even more attack. Okay, with all that saturation and stuff, we brought up again a little bit of resonance, and I apply another EQ to get rid of like sound in the snare, and just to even out the frequency response a little bit more. Okay, now the very final step is that source is sounding as if it was mono, although we use the stereo microphone. This is because, the drum kit is far away and we don't really have any spatial information. But if we want to have this room track a little bit wider, we can use a widener. I like to use a doubler, for example, where we delay one side a little bit to the other, and we use tuning up and tuning down. So you tune up one side a little bit, tune down the other a little bit, and this gives you a nice little spread. Let's listen to what that sounds like. Bypass. In again. Okay, that may sound a little bit weird on headphones because it's really pulled apart, but as soon as we add this under the pretty mono, very focused dry drum set, it will just open up a space around the set. Let's listen again to the dry drum set, and then I blend in this room track. That's pretty nice. I will mute the room track right in the middle one more time, just so that you can hear the drastic difference between really dry and with just a little bit of natural ambience. Okay, so that is really nice. It really makes the set sound as if it was played in a slightly larger room. I hope this little trick helps you on the next production, and let's go on.
All right, so hopefully no more excuses for tiny drum sounds. Use samples or just do what we just showed you. Yeah. It works really well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next question.
Do we have another question?
Yes.
Do you have another question?
I have one, but I don't have one. Jan Fischer has one.
Jan?
Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello, Jan. I am a singer and struggle with voice getting tired quickly sometimes. Any tips, tricks, please? You are a singer. You should know best.
Yeah, first of all, I get the same thing, and I think all of singers do. So first of all,
So you're a bad singer.
That's yes. No. But I just want to say that's fine. If the first thing is, if you get tired, stop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
How many times did I have
No,
this
really,
thing?
that is-
Give me one more try,
Yeah.
try. And you already know,
Yeah.
of course, I give you a try, but I know we will continue tomorrow.
Yeah, it sounded funny, but it's that
Yeah, no,
serious.
it's-
If you
it's a good
if
one,
you
yeah.
lose your voice, or if you feel it's about to break or gets really tired, stop.
Yes.
At least take a break, and maybe if you know yourself, you can try again and see if there's something there. Maybe you get 2 more takes out of it, but
9 times out of 10, there is nothing left in
there's
the
nothing
tank.
left.
Yeah.
other than that, sleep is very important for your voice. Just get a lot of it.
Yes.
Water, hydration is also the best friend of the voice.
I've heard that hydrating yourself with tons of whiskey in the previous evening and smoking cigars also helps.
Yes, if you want to sound like Lemmy right away, that helps. No, but okay.
Yeah.
Also, another thing is, I would say, watch out if you, for example, if you know you have a recording session. I'm assuming that's kind of the question.
It's about recording. Yeah, I think.
Really make sure not only, I mean, the drinking, smoking thing, that's all obvious, that should be a given, but also what you eat. Like, don't eat like hot and spicy things before the recording session, even maybe not the night before, because it affects your digestion, all that kind of stuff. You could get like bad like reflux stuff, which is really bad.
Oh, yeah.
So there's all kinds of things, and there's also like big singers who lost their voice due to like food poisoning and that kind of stuff. So I mean, those are like the
So avoid seafood the night before.
Just avoid living life, basically. Do nothing. No.
Yeah.
Okay. But those are the things. And then, the day you're recording, try to have eaten something, but not right before you record. Try to be hydrated.
Moderate amounts.
Yeah.
So no big lunch, but eat something small so you don't
Something
fall
light.
into a coma after.
Yes. Then warm up is a big thing, and if you don't have a warm up routine yet, which a lot of singers don't, I would really highly recommend to get some. And the thing is with that, I really for me, I found out it's not really important that it's an official like warm up type thing. Yeah, I mean, and also what I would recommend is try to really warm up your head voice, like that register, because the way it interacts with your chest voice is kind of overlooked sometimes. A lot of that stuff is subjective, and bodies are built differently. I really felt that it helped me to have my head voice really warmed up, because then the vocal break between your chest voice and your head voice is more smooth.
Okay.
And then you also get more power, and you can go longer and harder and record or sing longer times. And then the last thing maybe would be, if we're talking about maybe you record a song, really analyze the song in terms of which parts are easy to sing for me, which parts are really hard for me to sing. And then order the parts in a useful way when you record it. Don't
If
go
you
like,
can split it up, don't start with the most difficult and most challenging and voice ruining part.
Yeah, and also there's no need. I mean, there's aesthetic reasons for that, but I really do think, because some people are like still afraid of, but if we do the second verse first and then the chorus, people are gonna hear it. No, they don't. You don't hear it.
It's done all the time.
Yeah, it's done all the time.
Sometimes it's nice if you are able to do the song in one, to have the right drama and stuff. It's great, but if you can't, then do it in a more comfortable order.
Yeah, for me, most of the times it would look something like I start with the most mellow part first. Usually that's maybe the verse, because usually a song in the chorus gets more energetic or maybe a little bit higher. So do the verses first, do the choruses next. Maybe keep in mind that you, or even maybe the producer, has an idea in the middle of the recording session, be like, hey, we should do some like crazy ad-lib stuff on the last chorus. Keep them for later, but just keep that in mind. Like it's I think a lot of that has to do with just knowing yourself and knowing how much you can do, and then just don't go like 100% from the get-go, but be aware that like try to optimize, the relation between how much power you give into your singing, how long you have to go. It's just like an equation that has to...
It's like running a marathon. If you
don't sprint.
You don't sprint right away because
Exactly.
you know you have to go 40-something kilometers
Yes.
and you have to stay till the end.
Yeah.
One thought regarding like splitting up resources would also be more often than not, you will have some backing vocals and harmonies and stuff like this. And the most important part is the lead vocal. So I always try to get the most resource in the lead vocal. Then doubles for the chorus and stuff like this. Most of the time I actually use unused takes for this.
Yes.
Because there is oftentimes no need to. And now we do the doubles because you already recorded like 5 or 7 takes, and you can take the bad takes or the
best of the bad takes.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah,
they are most of the time they are almost as good as the lead vocal take, but they are most of the time really good enough for backings.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have any, or the first take was the best take, then I would keep doubles and harmonies and all that stuff that has like a second order priority. I would keep it for later and just really work down like a priority list.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's and if you have like a part somewhere in, I would not do that as warm up or first part, but keep this for the rest.
Yes, totally.
I think that was a really good finishing line.
Yeah. Bye.
See you next time. Bye-bye.